Hello. Okay, hi, I'm Hamida Dergan Ragazzi Rizzato, and I just got done ending my stream and raiding out, and my friends and I were all talking about raiding, which got me thinking about some things I would like to bring up as a VTuber content creator on Twitch. So, I love raiding out to new people. I think raiding out to new people is mutually beneficial for both parties. I think you can raid out to somebody and it shares my community with them and their community with mine and it bridges gaps. And there are a lot of times where I've met a lot of really amazing people through doing it that way. I've met people through rating that are now like my closest friends, and I've also rated people that have told me to go off myself in Minecraft. So it's a really big 50-50. So what is like the big takeaway with rating? Well, I think as long as you understand that these people do not know you. These people are not yet your friends or enemies. They are neutral people. And like neutral people, clean slate, anything you do will affect their opinions on you. Like what message gets shouted out, what messages you send in your raid message. And a lot of the time, they are really grateful for being raided. However, I have had a small percentage of people I've raided out to with the best intentions who have completely, for lack of a better term, lost their minds. And I've just said the most awfulest things to me, not because of anything I did specifically, but solely because they did not want to receive a raid. And it sucks because it really demotivates you as the creator to want to continue rating out to new people, but also it also damages your reputation with your viewer base. I remember the first time this happened, and just to set the scene, it was my first time ever reaching double digits on my stream, and I was so excited. And there was a VTuber who I adored at the time, and I rated them because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan of their content. I wanted to rate them. I had double digit numbers, which was a big deal for me. And I went in there like, oh my gosh, we're rating. And my message is meow raid. They said off the bat, oh shoot, I forgot to turn off raids. I didn't want to entertain another person's chat, which is hurtful. And while you may be valid in not wanting to do that, it happened. You know, like I still rated them. Even if they didn't want it, it happened still. And now what they do next is what makes the big difference to me. And when I rated them, they got very upset, obviously. And my chatters were DMing me on Discord and just being like, hey, like, what happened? Why are they being so rude to you? Which was so embarrassing because I really was hyping up this person. And then they just completely, it was hurtful. So I am now very selective with how I raid and who I raid. Because my content, if those of you who don't know, outside of me doing my music on YouTube, I also do high competitive gaming VTubing, which is very uncommon in the VTubing space. It is very uncommon. So it's kind of a gamble for me. And so where I'm leading with this is, if you want to raid out to somebody, what I do is I like to, before I'm ending stream, I like to look out who I'm wanting to raid, right? And I do a couple of different reasons. I look at the numbers, just that way I can tell like how active their chat is, like how fast the chats are rolling. Because if you're raiding someone who has a very active chat, you know, it might get swept up, you know, and they might miss either the raid message or the hellos or highs, and it can get kind of busy. And, you know, some people may not care about that, but it's just like, just for where I'm at right now, that's what I look for. So with that, I look for also the character design. I look for creativity in their model and their display. I love seeing VTubers with a creative model, mindset, some sort of bit that they do, whether it be like chaotic good, chaotic evil, neutral, like whatever. And like seeing the personality. And so if all those three criterias are met, I like to like peer into their little stream, watch them a little bit, and then decide if I'm gonna raid them or not. And there are some times where I'll think about raiding somebody, and then I don't, because either something was said or done or something like literally minuscule where I'm like, oh, I don't really know if I want my community to either see that or be a part of that at the moment, especially after what we were just playing, might be too intense for them or may not be what they're used to. So I try to make sure I'm gauging that pretty well. But of course, this will obviously vary for each content creator. What I look for and when I rate is obviously not what you look for when you rate, and that is completely fine. The point of this video is more just to express that be aware of who you are rating and before you rate them. And then I'll also be the devil's advocate and do it on the receiving end of that. If you are being rated, these people, content creators, chose you out of millions of profiles, especially depending on the game category you're playing. Like for me, I was playing Marvel Rivals. There are thousands of VTubers playing Marvel Rivals right now. Getting chosen for a raid is a big deal and honor, in my opinion. So treat it like it's that, because they didn't have to raid you. They could have easily rated anybody else, but they chose you. Remind them and show them why they should raid you. And be respectful, kind, open, talk to them, make sure everything is like in order. Just that way, like they feel welcomed. Because there is nothing worse than raiding into a creator that does not care about you or care about your raid. It is a awful feeling, and I hope none of you guys have ever had that. I know a lot of YouTubers or a lot of content creators have had that, where they'll raid into somebody and they just get the cold shoulder. It's an awful feeling. So I'll always try to make sure that when I'm getting rated, I make sure my moderators are on it, giving shout outs, giving promos, asking them how they were doing. I have a whole little bit I do when I get rated, because I see it as such an honor to be rated by new people. Okay, so that's just where I was at. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you look for when you rate out to people? And if you have been rated, what is the best experience you have had being rated before? Okay, I'm going to head out because I have to get ready for the day 2 of Blockfest, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.